amazing. Thank you, Mona. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so we're going to do three things. We would get the results of the earlier poll so we can go by it. They didn't feel it? Okay.
In the chat.
Okay, we're going to post another poll shortly, but I'm going to do my takeaways from what Mona said, and then this is the time to start posting your questions if you have any. I understand your approach because wealth is spiritual, really. It's a mindset thing, and it all starts in the mind. And if you don't get the mind right, you cannot build sustainable wealth that you pass on to generations. And the Bible even says that it is God who gives us the power to get wealth. So there's a spiritual element to it. And people need to understand that. So I get it. And this it's a whole paradigm shift that is required to approach money and wealth. When I mentioned the workshop, you need to do and to know in getting wealth that cannot be dealt in a 2-hour session. We're almost actually out of time. I'm actually surprised at how quickly the time was gone. I'm going to speak about my takeaways, and I'm basing it on your last slide in terms of practical things to do after this. So when you look at the last slide, the first thing on that slide, you talked about place value on your time and your end product, which is really about monetizing your gifts and all that. Earn income and create capital. Share a portion of your earnings with the needy. Save for a rainy day and build up assets, and then live within your means. For me, this is my takeaway. The first practical step is to do a monthly budget. A lot of us just float on and on without actually budgeting. So you don't even know what you have, and you have no guidance as to what you should be spending money on. So do a monthly budget. And then you need to develop your own personal balance sheet. That's what, when Mona talks about place value on your time and your end product. What are your assets? What are your own assets? What items are you putting value on? And she did explain the difference between an item that can be an asset in one person's hands, but is a liability in another hand. So you need your own personal balance sheet, your personal net worth statement, listing out what all your assets are, your gifts, your talents, physical assets you have acquired, and your liabilities. That way, and you start looking at it against your monthly budget, you start seeing where the issues are and the things you need to iron out. Now, she says, save for a rainy day. You need an emergency savings plan. You need a plan that ensures that for every money that you earn, remember, not pay, that you earn, some of it goes into an emergency savings plan for a rainy day, because a rainy day will come. And you must have something put away for the rainy day. Then you need an investment plan. When you hold money, you are either going to spend that money, or save that money, or invest that money. You need an investment plan that guides you on the kinds of things you can invest in and the things you should not be investing in. How do your personal values align with your investment? How do your goals, your long-term, short-term, medium-term goals align with your investments? You need a debt-free plan if you have debt. How are you going to get out of debt? You need a retirement plan, because you are not going to be able to earn all the time. And you must get to the point where your money starts working for you. And when you've retired and you can no longer work as hard as you're working now, you must have a plan to cater for those needs. And then you need a wealth plan. All these things actually fit into a wealth plan. How you're generating money, how you're managing the money that you invest, how you're managing the assets, and how you're going to pass this on to another generation. This is where things like your will comes in, using insurance to build and to protect the wealth that you've acquired. But it's a very, what's the word? I don't want to say it takes work. It takes work, and you must actually invest time in doing this.
Yeah, it's work, Charlotte.
but it's good work. It's work that you have a vision for and you move towards. So it's comprehensive. It makes you a fuller human being, and you must do the work. And that work is actually not hard work because it's for you. It's doing it for your own good.
And for generations after. So these are some of the things we're going to be doing in the workshop that we're still planning. How to really put all this together. These are the to-dos, and become a wealthy person. And of course, there's the emotional side of it. You cannot be a wealthy woman and you are a miserable woman, or a wealthy woman who lives out of fear and anxiety, or a wealthy woman who just despises your own life and everybody around you. So all that needs to come together. You need to work at this, but it is possible. It would be good to have some questions. I think we have what? 6? Oh my days. We actually thought we're going to have like 30 minutes for questions. Questions, please. While we're waiting for questions, next month, we are discussing weathering the storms of life, and I'm going to be speaking. And Petra and I are going to be speaking on weathering the storms of life. We would put out the dates shortly on social media. But next month is on weathering the storms of life. After you've made money and wealth, you need to know how to weather storms and crises when they come. We need some questions, please, or everyone is like really sorted. Yeah, Auntie Mona just killed everything, and nobody has questions.
I think our brother raised a lot of questions to people's minds about.
Okay, somebody says they want to ask you how it felt when she came to the realization of all this.
Is that directly to me?
Yes.
So
they know I haven't reached that point, so it can't be me.
Okay, so Charlotte, when I came to the realization that it was not about hard work, but it was actually about opening up to universe, being grateful for what I had, and working from my true self, and doing what would bring me earnings rather than payment, I was humbled to start with. It was a very humbling moment because the insights were so powerful, and it was so contrary to the way I had been raised and the way I saw people get on in life. So it took a lot out of me. Actually, I was like quiet for a long time. And when I say a long time, I mean weeks and months. And it made me want to research more and find out more. And then I realized that it was all not about reading and research. I had to practice what I had learned. So I started putting it into practice. I started being joyful. I started being kind to people. I started being purposeful and had clear intentions. And I started being true to myself. And I was pleasantly surprised at the results. And I was motivated by those results to keep going. Because otherwise, I always thought, I have nothing to offer. I have nothing to say. Just stay in my corner. But when I started speaking my truth, I realized that it was good. People liked it. It was real. My views were valuable. And I'm talking about views at corporate level, at work, in delivering to other people a service or a good. And that in itself motivated me and energized me. So it did feel overwhelming initially, humbling, but it strengthens you eventually. It's a bit like going through the fire. You feel the pain of changing. There are some bad habits we don't want to change. It's like wearing that comfortable slipper. It's torn, it's messy, but you don't want to stop wearing it. When you can break into that new shoe, you find that you are presenting yourself better to the universe.
Okay, there's another question. two actually. One is about capital. How do you start if you don't have money? And then let me just add the second one. How do you separate being diligent with spending and being stingy?
Okay, so we talked about earning. First and foremost, you must find a way of earning money. That is number one. Whether it's income that you earned or it's passive income. Passive income is some investment you've made already and the money just comes to you, like a rental and so forth. Or money that you now generate something to put out for sale. Now, we all know that if you sit and think and get creative, you will realize that there are certain things that can make life easier for people that you can offer. And we've seen some disruptors in recent times. So in the past, we only had taxis until someone put technology on top of all of that and created Uber and Lyft and so forth, which we now do by technology. Until pandemic, catering was a big thing of you go here and this and da. Now, catering and even housekeeping can be done using technology. You can order food for your family. You can do so many things. Now, that service that is required, remember that perhaps you are not the kind of person who has money to be ordering food all the time, but there are those who are using their time in other ways to earn money, and therefore you can be the person who delivers. You can be in the value chain. You are either cooking or you are delivering or something in that value chain, or it is some part of it. So join that value chain. Now, you don't want to be a farmer, but you want to be a processor. So let's say, for example, I'm interested in processing cassava to gari. Therefore, I don't involve myself in the agricultural part, but I buy my machines, I buy from suppliers, the farmers give to me, I turn that into gari and sell gari both in Ghana and abroad. I've created my own earning power. So the idea is to sit with you and find out what you are passionate about, and then you are able to earn. Once you begin to earn, like you said, you start to do your monthly budget. How much you spend, how much you save. What you save becomes capital. What you save becomes capital. I believe you started the program by saying there are two types of seed.
When you hold money, it's either a seed or it's a fruit.
Or a fruit. So
you're either going to plant it or you're going to eat it.
So you will make that decision. Do I want to create capital? Or do I want to spend everything that comes into my hand? Will I eat my seed? Will I plant it? Will I eat my fruits? Will I sell it? So it's your choice what you do. But remember that whatever you do today has implications for tomorrow. So creating capital requires you setting aside a portion of your earnings to create capital for you.
Can I add something?
That's
if you don't even have, I also believe that, like Mona said, money is energy, and money is the reward that the universe gives to you for value or for a solution that you give back to the universe. Is not work. It's not
it's not
always the reward for work. It's for value or a solution. So if you want to start a business, it's not every business that takes capital. So there's lots of women who are working. They want, let's say, healthy corn and cassava dough to feed their family that they know has been processed in a clean way. This is an example. So why are you not the person who is buying the corn and the cassava and processing it under hygienic conditions for them and sending it back to them, and then they are paying you for that solution, you are giving them that value. And that's how, like she's saying, you create capital by beginning to save from that money you have earned for the solution that you have provided. So it's not always that businesses take capital to start. It's really about, again, the mindset. When you open yourself up to God and the universe, the solutions come, and you now become the vessel of those solutions, and that's how you get, you start earning.
So
but there was a question about.
Let's just take a quick look at our ladies who are IT specialists.
Yes.
Right now, technology is becoming a big disruptor for many of the things that we do, and especially now that COVID came and we've been at home. Let's see how our ladies can use IT to make the work of women, of mothers, easier at home. Let's see some of the things that they can come up with, and they'll be rewarded for that. Many times it's the men who write these programs and run with it. Some of our ladies who definitely have all the expertise should also generate some of these things.
Exactly. Okay, there was a question on the difference between being stingy and being diligent with how you spend money.
So remember that one of the cardinal things what we said was giving, because it is in giving that you receive. So there's no way you are being stingy when you are giving. But if you give in a scattered, fragmented way, you are also scattering your receipts. And that's why many times people like to give to one place, or they pick a certain 2 or 3 places that they give to. But when you are just spreading, the receiving will also come in a fragmented way.
But doesn't the Bible say, cast your bread upon the waters? But
you are casting your bread upon a water. It is not just crumpling it all over the place, because you are, it's an energy and you are dissipating the energy. Okay. That's not a good way to do it. So let us say Tega needed 100 cedis to start a business. I have 100 cedis to give away. It is best if I give it to Tega so she can do her complete business, rather than split it into 5 CD notes and share it for everyone. That 5 CD note for everyone will not start a business for them. But I have shared to many people. It may make me feel good just for the one time, but they will spend it and it's finished. Whereas if I gave that complete 100 to Tega, her business will continue and she'll continue to bless me. I will continue to see her doing well. And that is a sustainable growth. So don't fragment the energy. Give it in a way that it makes sense. We are not saying go and stand at Makola and start sharing one CD. No. We are not saying become someone who is doing salaka every minute. Even the Muslims, as they do their giving out, they are doing it with purpose. They give enough to make it. Yes, not just giving for giving's sake, but giving to make a difference. So there's a difference between giving and being stingy. Stingy is where you're actually hoarding.
Yes. When it's 7 o'clock, I don't know if you can spare us like 5 more minutes.
Yes, let's carry on.
Okay, there are 2 questions I think we need to take, and then we'll try and wrap this up. One looks like a question straight out of Business Compass. It says, I have a company which is in its early stages, and I have to invest constantly. When do you advise me to start repaying myself the money that I invested?
So you have a business and you are investing constantly. You never told us how long you've been investing. If you are in the investing period, then that's what you're going to do. You're like a farmer who's planted a seed. You can't see the seed, it's in the ground. You need to water, you need to weed, you need to care for it. It's only after the gestation period that you will see it start to spring up. Even then, you will still care for it until you get to the end product. But if you realize that you are throwing money to something that has no end game, then you need to re-strategize. But if it is an early start and you are feeding an investment, then you are on the right path, and you must have patience for it to reach fruition. Don't be frustrated. Nothing happens overnight. So allow it to grow. I mean, it's like a woman being pregnant and saying in the 5th month, I want to deliver. I don't care. I want to deliver. I can't see it. I'm sure it's a baby. I want to deliver. No, you must wait for the gestation period for that thing to come to fruition. And then you reap, and then you can decide to reinvest or to enjoy part of it and reinvest part of it. But you didn't give us enough information to tell you whether you have gone past your pregnancy period And in fact, you are in your 12th month of pregnancy, and now we need to do surgery and take it out.
Or whether the baby is stillborn and we keep going at it.
Or whether she's cooking and making tomato and things in your stomach.
Then I'm hopefully maybe the last question. When do we strike the difference and balance between giving of your value freely and monetizing your value? I'm not sure I get the question. If Jima is online, maybe good to unmute and really explain this, but I don't get it. But I don't know if you do, Mona. When do we strike the difference between the balance between giving of your value freely and monetizing your value?
Okay, so I sort of get what the lady is saying.
Okay.
As a professional or a business person or someone who offers services or goods, there are times when you feel that you want to start the business by giving some freebies to build up your market, and then eventually you will start to monetize. So you do the freebie period as a promotional period for people to get to know what you can do, and they will actually act as adverts for you, because they'll go out there and say, Mona can do this, or Jima can do this, she's very good, see what she did. And they'll be your moving billboards. Now, at a certain point, you know when you can no longer afford freebies and you need to start getting income in. In fact, it shouldn't be long. Once the demand starts to pick up, then you know that value has been found in what you're offering, and you start to sell it, even to your friends. Now, if they are true good friends, they will never ask you for something that you are producing in order to live on for free. True friends don't do that. True friends will say, here it is, I'm paying for it, put it in your books, show it as income earned. And at another date, you can do something for me as a gift. But you're running a business. Let us keep to the business line. Now, in business, whether you are a doctor, a nurse, a seamstress, a lawyer, there are times when we like to do things gratis for a few people. So we decide that this year, I will take 1 or 2 or 3 people from a certain low income group or a handicapped person and do good for that person. And we'll do that gratis. So for example, in your case, Charlotte, you may decide that there is, every year you will do 2 or 3 cases for maybe very young girls from poor families who've been raped, and you take on their case gratis. A doctor may decide that I'll do 2 or 3 breast cancer procedures gratis. It is your way of saying thank you to the universe for giving me the gift that I can give to other people.
I think I need an accountability partner, because I tend to overdo the gratis thing.
Yeah, if
the problem with the gratis,
you're killing the value.
Exactly. The problem with the gratis, especially when you're actually giving value, is that you actually render it unsustainable, because you cannot always do it for free. And so then you deprive everyone else who was even willing to pay for that value of the value, because you killed it by giving it for free. So you must always know how sustainable is the free.
Exactly.
For how long can you continue that? At some point, you will need to earn from it, so you just can continue giving that value.
It must be purposeful. It shouldn't just be, I mean, you may have friends who will even call you to try and pick advice off you for free.
Yeah.
You should be able to say, look, come to the office, see me Monday morning, make an appointment, and they come and you send them the bill. They can say what they want at home, but you know that you gave them value, and they know that you gave them value.
Okay, last question. Please, do you advise one to be a corporate woman or do business, especially when you have a passion for a particular business?
The question, I think, answers itself. The answer is in the question. Do what you have passion for, what you're passionate about. Because then you are dealing with your own problems and you are solving your problems for yourself. The only time you will go into corporate is if you want to go and learn. And sometimes you're not able to learn because it is not the same size as the business you will work on. So it's your choice and where you are in the stage in your life that you are at. If you think you need to build experience, Go to the corporate as a training school and go and learn about how to handle things. If you know you are baked and ready to run a business, go ahead and do it with passion. Don't do it because of the money. Do it because you love to do it.
Thank you, Mona. So this has been an amazing Testy Woman Talk. We started from dealing with emotional wounds from childhood, wounds from partners, wounds from violators. We moved on to your identity, your self-worth, knowing your purpose. We've dealt with wounded women. We've dealt with the power of your word. We've dealt with women at work, building bridges and climbing stairs. We've dealt with moving from being a warrior to being a warrior. We dealt with wombing. How do you birth dreams and destinies and fruitfulness? And today we looked at being a wealthy woman. And it's not just about money, but all-round wealth and getting the right mindset, preparing your mind for wealth. Because if you don't, then you cannot sustain the wealth, and you certainly cannot pass it on to the next generation, and you cannot prepare the next generation to even handle the wealth. So this was really, really amazing. And Mona, you're truly, truly amazing. I learned so much. We'll be sharing the slides to everybody who was on. And we thank all of you for making time to join us. I loved the feedback. I loved the chats. I loved the questions. I loved the answers. And I look forward to seeing all of you next month when we'll be dealing with weathering the storms of life. So thank you. God bless all of you, and go out and be wealthy, and may God give all of us the power to make wealth, the power to keep wealth, and the power to multiply wealth. So go, be happy, and live lives of purpose and joy.